everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have two very special guests. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. Would you please?
I am Bobbi.
And I am Cedric.
And we are Aging Grateful.
Yeah. So
Wonderful.
I'm aging and she's grateful. That's how you want to look at it.
Or the other way around, whichever day it is.
Well, it's a great name. It's a great name.
And we're so happy you're here to join us today.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So first, for our viewers who don't know you, could you just talk about yourselves, where you are, and briefly, how you got to that point?
So we are currently in Mexico, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Puerto Vallarta, yeah.
It was actually a year this week when we first came here.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't even remember how.
Literally, we don't know how we planned Puerto Vallarta for a vacation, because that's what we were trying to plan, a vacation somewhere.
Right. And we were talking about the other day, I don't remember how we picked Puerto Vallarta for a vacation. So we came here on a vacation September last year. And if you hear the house alarm going off back there, welcome to Mexico.
Yeah, welcome to Mexico.
It never fails.
The same here.
So we took a vacation. We came down here. We stayed in a very nice resort. It was all inclusive. So we didn't go anywhere. But, we could tell it was beautiful. And then one day we took the, Uber down to the Malecon. And the guy at the hotel told the Uber driver or the taxi driver, just drop us off at the beginning. And then he told us, just walk the Malecon and then see how you like it, whatever. So we did that. And we loved it. I was like, I fell in love with it. I don't know what it was. But then I said.
He fell in love with it.
I don't know, man. So it was just one of those places where as soon as I got off the plane, it's just I can't, describe it. You may know that when you get there, but it's just an energy that just like, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I told her, I said, well, I work remote. You can work remote. Let's book some Airbnbs and do a scouting trip, and let's just see, stay in different parts of the town, the city, and see if we can actually work from here. You hear all the stories about the internet speeds and all kinds of construction noise and all that. So we booked a 3.5 week trip, and we came back.
Well, he's leaving out that we stayed for a week vacation, came home, and he immediately booked 3 weeks back. We weren't even home for a couple of days.
But let's be fair. The trip was a month later, 2 months later. So it
was a month. 1 month later. But he booked it as soon as we got back.
Yeah.
But it was a month later, that we went.
So we just kind of went from there and had no plans of ever even
thinking about
moving anywhere, much less abroad anywhere. So then we just started watching YouTube videos and went down that rabbit hole, and you know how that is. So then we was like, okay, this is something that we can do. We came back for the 3 weeks. We stayed in different parts of town, and a lot of people were saying that if you, to get the best deals, you kind of walk around and see the for rent signs, and don't use the Facebook groups. So we did that. We saw a sign at a place for rent, and we called the lady on WhatsApp and went and looked at it and
signed a lease
before we left.
Before we got back on the plane after the 3 weeks, it was $775. Everything was included except for the electric. And we were like, sold, sign us up.
Yeah.
My thought process at that point was, I knew we wanted to come back and forth. And I'm like, it was, cheap enough to where, we'd have a place to stay basically when we come back instead of doing these Airbnbs. So at least we come back every other month. And, it kind of worked out the same in the map, in my head at least.
But then he fell in love and decided to say he can't do that anymore, going back and forth. And we went back, sold everything, rented out our house, and we were here effective as of Mother's Day. Yeah. For good.
Full time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we got a temporary residency, all that.
Well, I understand the feeling. I really do when you say you step off a plane and something just, I don't know, feels right. I guess that's the word. It feels right. And when you have that feeling, you're like, okay, this is it. This is a place I can call home. And that's the reason why we're where we are now. Because of me.
That happened to us. It was crazy. That was 7 years ago in Dubai.
Wow.
When we went to Dubai, and she was like, "Man, this is different." Like she felt different just by being there, and of course that kind of put the bug in my brain. Like, man, if I could ever make it happen, I would move to another country. And it just so happened the pandemic came, and I think that shifted everyone's frame of thought about working or even remote, especially remote working. We were both just tired of working, period. But still,
we are there. We are there.
But that was just having that feeling, and then I knew because she really was passionate about that. Even though it was years later when I brought it to her, I was like, man, I was wondering if she still feels that way. And it was immediate as soon as I brought it up.
As soon as he said, "You want when? When can we leave?"
Do it.
Here's my bag. She's like, "Here's my bag. Where we going?"
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
And it was one of those situations. I guess maybe the same for y'all, where the timing just kind of was perfect. Like you didn't sell your house, but for us, selling it, the timing was perfect for that. The like I said, the frame of mind with the pandemic and everything just made it so that it seems like leaving the U.S. was an easier process than it would have been, 10 years earlier. Yeah. Mentally.
Right. We were looking at Bali because we were watching so many Bali videos and stuff like that, and then we got ready to book the trip, and then that's right when the pandemic happened. So then it kind of just went on the back burner. We did watch videos all through the pandemic, but then it just kind of went on the back burner. Then, like I said, I don't even know how we ended up in Mexico on a vacation, but
here we are.
It worked out. It worked out.
But we were also seeing, like, of course, things in the States where people were dying early, and we're like, friends and family, and then stars and stuff, and we're like, you know what, if we don't get a chance to enjoy our lives right now, I mean, you never ever know what's going to happen in the future. So why are we prolonging being able to be someplace and have some peace and some freedom?
And I don't want to be 70 years old and regretting not making that move. That's not the thing.
No, we're still young enough to enjoy.
Exactly. That was our goal. That was our goal. I want us. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And just so you know, when you get a chance to go to Bali, it's beautiful. We went last year. When you were supposed to go in September, it was absolutely everything. And it's crazy that all the other countries just, I don't know, it embraces you. So it just makes you want to just, okay, it's time to leave. I don't care where I go. I'm not trying to bash the U.S., but it's just, I don't have that feeling. It's different now.
It's giving me the opportunity to do what I'm doing now, but I don't really want to go back.
Right.
That part. Well, we were here initially for vacation. I'm like, everybody is so friendly toward us. It's like, it's not an ulterior motive behind or anything. They're just naturally like friendly and accepting and open. And I'm like, well, this is what we miss. I'm not, like you said, not bashing the U.S., but this is kind of like what we miss in the U.S. It used to be, you said hi to your neighbors or the people on the street or something like that. You knew the police officer friendly or whatever, but that's not the case anymore.
It is.
So,
And I think that's what a lot of people are seeking, to feel compassion, empathy, sympathy, friendship.
Just good human nature.
Yeah, just, that hospitality that people give, that we used to give in the States, because I'm from the South. You'll hear that Southern drawl eventually. But
I got it out of her 20-something years in Virginia, though. She's lost some of it.
But that Southern hospitality is definitely here for us in Ecuador. People speak, greet you, just don't know you. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Yep.
That's her Spanish accent.
I have a Spanish. But they know I'm trying.
Yes, absolutely.
So what is it like in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico?
Oh,
for y'all?
Right now it's hot.
And humid.
And humid.
Yes.
But it's not as bad as I thought. Everybody talked about it being so hot. You know, a lot of people leave. But what I'm realizing is it seems like a lot of people leave. They're coming from colder climates, like in the States, they're coming from Minnesota or Canada, these cold places. But coming from Arizona, it's not. It's definitely doable here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I mean, we're talking like 118, 120 degrees,
Yes.
and I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, this
Exactly.
yeah. But I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
But no, I was about to say the one thing I tell people is, you know, with the AC, if once you get in the AC, it's hard to get out and go do stuff. But if you can, we pretty much run ours all night, and then we'll turn it off in the morning. It stays pretty decent. You know, we can manage, you know, for the most part. But other than that, it's nice. It's a small enough city. It's walkable.
Yes.
We stay right in the heart of downtown, so we can walk everywhere. Don't need a car. That was one of the things, you know, that we wanted to do.
Or if we needed to go someplace that was a little bit further than walking, what we consider walking distance, Ubers are cheap here, like cheaper than what we're getting in the States, like what $3, $4, $5 or something like that. Food is incredible, guys.
Yeah.
Tacos.
Yeah, people say it all the time. It tastes like the food tastes like it did when we were kids. All
Yes.
the food, you know?
Very
Exactly.
fresh. Very fresh. And great community. I am the type of person that I appear to be extroverted. Like I appear to be out there, but I'm really introverted.
Introverted.
Yes.
He said, nah. You lying.
So, or shall I say, I'm not a trusting, like open person. Maybe that's a better way to say that. He said, tell the truth, Sean. But here, it caused me to let my defenses down a little bit because people are more willing to have conversation with you, actually share themselves more, and which causes me to kind of tone down on the wall building. You know?
Are y'all related? Y'all related?
Yes, we are.
Because trust me, coming from the States, it was way up here.
Absolutely.
And they invite you to their home. I'm like, you don't know me. And what is your intention? Like,
absolutely,
this is a scam or something? Mm-hmm. And when you get there, you realize they're really genuine. They're inviting you. They want you to have dinner with them. And I made, I guess you can say, more, they say friends, but I'm going to say acquaintances.
Yeah. We are related. Yeah.
And it's really, it's nice because I didn't have that in the States. You know, I can call up a friend and we can meet for lunch. I can go visit someone and we just have a nice conversation. I can't say I did that in the States.
Oh, I did.
Also, everyone we know here isn't working.
Well, yeah, no one's working really, so.
No one's working?
See, that's our problem, because I work all day, so it's like, hey, man, we're going to go down to the beach, and about 10:30, you're going to be ready? I'm like, 10:30, man, I don't get off work until,
4:30. Absolutely.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask you why you chose Mexico, but you're not sure. It was just nice when you visited, so you stayed there.
Yeah, it was just nice.
It was nice. And it is a soft landing. It's a 2-hour flight back to Arizona.
Not even.
So
hour and a half.
I think our goal now is, you know, we have our 16-year-old daughter with us. She goes to ASU High School online. She's been going to ASU High School online. But we figured we would stay here for at least 2 years until she graduates. She's a junior now. And that way, it's, you know, if we need to get back, it's quick. Then after that, we can really start exploring, you know,
options,
other places.
If this is going to be home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good plan. I mean, I think it's 4 hours from here to Miami, but it is 2 hours to the airport, so you're going to add that to it, 6 hours.
Yeah.
But it is.
Maybe that's off our list. No.
It just depends because if you live in Manta, they have an airport there.
Cuenca does, Quito does, Guayaquil does. We actually have an airport right outside our window.
It's just not.
They're just not using it.
Not.
Oh.
Wow.
The pandemic came. They basically shut it down for passenger flights. So the military uses it a little bit, but it's a fully functional airport right here. We can walk over there. So hopefully they'll open that thing back up.
Did it used to have like international flights?
Yeah, well, I think they had national flights, but
okay.
So here's the thing: a flight to Guayaquil would have been like $60 or something like that. Well, if we pay a driver to take us to Guayaquil, $70 to go to the airport.
Okay.
So if there's an airport right here, I can just hop on, pay less money, and then get to Guayaquil or Quito to fly to the States, and that's just a much better option.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Hopefully, one of the guys who's running for president, who may get elected, he's actually from this province, so hopefully he has enough sense to open his airport again. So, well,
from your lips to his ears.
Right. Have you had unexpected difficulties?
Our residency.
Yeah.
Our residency process should have gone smoother than anticipated. And we had a facilitator.
Yeah.
So we had paid for a facilitator. So we were really expecting it to be an easy thing. And it was, for the most part, except for we realized Mexico has its own thought process on time. Okay. And we were supposed to have gotten our temporary residency, but they extended the timeline that we were supposed to be here. So, they only give you 30 days once you've gotten your approval from the United States. And we were here, supposed to have gotten it within 2 weeks. The printer broke that. Well, they had made a mistake on my residency document. They transposed the numbers. And so they said, well, we have to send it up to whoever the powers that be in Mexico to approve this. I'm like, you just can't have somebody like a manager in the office to approve. No, they got to send it off to get approved. And so they did that, which took a week. Then we were like, great, everything's good. We get there and they tell us the printer is broken.
So they can't
print out cards, which was a 2-week wait for some cards.
Yeah, so we're pushing 45 days.
We were pushing 45 days. Yeah. And they were like, "Well, no, you're good. You got approved. You just can't leave. You just can't leave the States for anything." And we were like, "No, I mean, but we got to get back." Yeah, I'm like, "No, we got to go get back because we were planning on, putting our stuff, rented out the house and everything." Right. And they're like, "Too bad." And I think what was it that you had to go back to the States for?
Oh, I sold one of the cars.
Oh, so his Tesla.
So I had to go back and I was like, look, you know how hard it is to sell these cars, man. I was like, look, somebody on it, they got the money. I got to go. Like, I can't.
Yes.
And the government was like, so
they did give me permission, finally give me permission to leave. So I left, but I had to be back in 90 days. And I had to follow a strict process on leaving the airport or it would just wipe out the whole process. Like I had to go, first you had to go find this little immigration desk inside the airport and they had to do a stamp and initials, then you had to go to the counter and they had to do something. And all this time you got to make sure they don't accidentally stamp your thing 180 days. And they're like, well, coming back through, you got to make sure you go to this line and don't let them stamp it. And
it was just, it's a large process for anybody who has to leave when they are waiting on approval for your residency.
Yeah, so dude, I'm in, showing my passport and my papers, and he's sitting there with the thing, and I'm like, man, don't
you stamp that.
And he's like, so it worked out, but it took May or was it April? April when we got ours finally.
April 1st when I broke my foot. Yeah.
Okay, that was the other unexpected thing. She broke her foot, and I was in the States.
So we had gotten a chance to check out this medical system here in Mexico. I went to the emergency room after I broke my foot here, and I'm ashamed to say that I broke my foot just watering some plants, but that's a whole another story. But the medical care here to me is bar none. I am blown away by the level of care here. Yeah. Although that was unexpected, I mean, when you have doctors like the orthopedic surgeon giving me her cell number and saying, "Call me," and I was like, "Call the office," and she like tapped her hip and with the cell phone. She's like, "No, call
her.
me." Yeah, I'm like, "What? Where do they do that?" And that they call the doctors. So, I mean, it was amazing level of care here in Puerto Vallarta. Beautiful, clean, just wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
Would you consider that a pleasant surprise?
Oh yes, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
I didn't know, especially getting hurt, I had no clue what to expect. Because you hear in different forms and stuff, horror stories sometimes, so you don't know what to expect. I'm like, who do I call? But I just took an Uber. We had some friends here. They made sure I got to the hospital, and as soon as I got to the emergency room, I'm used to emergency room. You're gonna wait forever, and you're gonna see a doctor probably in a couple of hours. You can either be laying on the floor screaming and kicking, and they're still not going to show you to the doctor. You're still gonna wait.
No.
As soon as I walked in, I couldn't fill out my documents that they gave me, the application, fast enough before they were wheeling me back, and the doctor was like right there, and I was blown away. I was blown away from that, but I was also blown away from the cost, because the entire bill. I had emergency room, X-rays, doctors, medicine. They called the orthopedic surgeon in the middle of the night, so this included her fees. It was less than $900 for everything, including medicine. Entire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Entire.
Now that's amazing.
Yeah, and it must be a Latin American thing about the doctors giving you their phone number. Yeah, like our doctors just like, oh yeah, call me. Yeah, you guys want to come over?
There's no secretary to take the message. It goes directly to them.
There's no gatekeepers.
No gatekeepers.
No gatekeepers. And they wasn't feeling well probably about 2 months ago or so, because I was like having problems, and I didn't know if it was allergies or whatever, because I've never had allergies before. But the doctor came to my house.
Came to your house.
I said, what? What magical medical institution?
Yeah.
We've been missing out.
Outside the United States.
We've been missing out.
Yes, we have.
Like the old school movies came in a little bag.
Yeah, she came with a doctor's bag.
Yeah.
Yes,
I was like, am I being pumped? What is this? But so medical care is definitely different abroad. It's just interesting to me.
I agree with you. It's very interesting that you can get the level of care that you need outside of the U.S. When you're in the U.S., you got to go call the doctor. When you call, what is it?
The office?
No, yes, but if it's after hours, you get a nurse.
Yeah.
They got to call you back. When the doctor's not available, we can get you in, but it'll be next week. Well, I'm in pain now. Well, go to the emergency room. I got to sit in the emergency room 5 hours. And still, you go to the back and you sit another hour.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just to get a bill in the mail.
And that's why I said they need to revise the terminology of our system in the U.S. Not bashing the United States, but this outside the United States, this is true health care.
Right. I think in the U.S. it's all about the insurance companies.
Yeah.
Because even when I called the insurance to get reimbursed, and I was talking to the lady that I was telling her what had happened, and she was looking at the file and stuff. She was like, I get so many calls from people abroad, and the medical stuff is just so amazing, and it's so much more affordable than here in the U.S. She's like, I don't know what's going on in the U.S. I started telling her, you know what's going on in the U.S.
You know exactly what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was unexpected, but good unexpected thing.
Yeah.
How has the increase in value of the peso changed anything for y'all, or if it has or not?
I would say no, because for one,
he's always talking about this to our friends, so he's gonna be on his soapbox right now.
No, I'm just saying. It's like when the first time I ever came to Mexico, it was only 10 pesos to $1. So, it's when we got here, it was 20, and I think now it's down to 17 something. I'm like, we're still winning.
Right.
But I always say it to me, unless you're buying a house or some, hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's not changing your life, this dollar here, dollar there. But let me say this. We are fortunate and we rent from an American family, so we don't have to worry about, trying to convert pesos when it comes to that.
Absolutely. Shout out to Tiffany and Shane. But we are fortunate. We have owners that are American, and we pay in U.S. dollar. Yeah. So it never changes for us.
Right.
Groceries and things like that we buy, we allot for. We do budget, so we allot for anything if something gets higher or lower or something like that. We allot for that, so it hasn't really affected us much. However, I'm of the frame of mind when he talks about this not affecting much. I say this: I don't care if it's $5. If it's $5 more that I have to pay, it is affecting me.
What is with this finger?
Hey, y'all related. I'm telling you.
I mean, I'm just saying. It's the truth. It affects.
It is the truth.
At the end of the day, it's $5 less than what I started with, or
exactly.
So I look at it from that perspective. I don't care. He said it has to be lots of money for there to be an effect.
I can definitely see if people are on a very fixed income, how that could be something that they may have to worry about. Not saying that we have a budget and we have a income that we do, but it's not like it's not going to kill it if it goes up $1.
Oh my gosh, he sounds just like Steve.
Yes.
It's not going to kill you. So what's the problem?
It is.
It is killing me.
Exactly. I feel you. Listen, child. I feel you. High five. Okay.
I just
you heard it.
I think that with us, we're fortunate that Ecuador uses a U.S. dollar, so we don't have to do any kind of conversion or anything like that. If there has been any kind of inflation, then we haven't really noticed it here.
So can I ask you a question? Okay.
Sure.
I was gonna say, can I ask you guys a question? Okay, because we've been watching your videos for a while, and my question always is this: it is in U.S. dollars, but it seems like they're following the dollar or following what the United States is because of the currency. But how come food, housing, clothing, and things like that are so drastically different, and it's still U.S.? I mean, they're using the U.S. dollar. I'm like, why doesn't things cost the same?
Okay.
It's U.S. dollar.
Allow me to explain.
Look, I've asked that question too, so I'm going to let him explain.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Amen.
So, all right. It's basically, even though they use the U.S. dollar, the economy is based on the minimum monthly salary.
Which is
$450.
Yeah.
Right. So the economy is basically based on that. So even though they use the U.S. dollar, everything is proportional to the minimum cost of living, the income. So if you get something imported, obviously it's going to cost more. Mm-hmm. But for local brands and local things, which is for the most part, is what we use, everything is just much cheaper. A 5-gallon water jug, and I usually get 3 at a time, they're $1.50, and they get delivered.
Right.
You can't get a 5-gallon water jug in the United States for $1.50.
You can't get it.
You can't get much for it. You can't get a Coke.
I can't get a 16-ounce bottle of water for $1.50.
Exactly.
So everything is proportional. It's like I said, it's just based on the minimum income. When I worked in Kuwait, the Kuwaiti dinar at the time, this was like 2010, was worth like $3.50. Like one dinar is worth $3.50. Mm-hmm. But when you actually, if you paid everything in dinar, it actually kind of came out to the same as you would have been paying in the States. So let's say you go to, at a restaurant, eat, it might cost you 4 or 5 dinar, but it's like $15. But it's the same as what it costs you in the States.
Right.
Here it's different. You're not, a meal that costs you $15 in the States will cost you like $4 or $5 here.
Sign me up.
Hey, that's just the way the economy is.
That is crazy to me because I'm like, they use U.S. dollar. It would just make sense that everything is just like the same cost.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Because the people here, they don't make a lot. You know.
Same.
Yeah, same here.
Like
Same
when you
here.
have the people pushing the carts and selling the food, they're charging you $1.50. But if you come on the Malecon, because this is where all the immigrants, expats are, it costs more, but it's not accessible.
Yeah.
Right.
No, they don't, charge you. Like if you get a cake, it's a nice size cake for $3.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured, okay, I'm gonna pay this $3 because I would pay $3 in the States anyway.
You probably pay more, actually.
Well, at not Sweetie Coffee, Starbucks, they're probably $7, but
Yeah.
so we
Absolutely.
patronize local vendors because their food is good. Right?
Yeah.
I can't say it's not. It's really good.
And they kind of charge different prices depending on what street you're on. So, like she said, if you're on right here, because our building is right here on the Malecon. So, if we're actually on the Malecon and you buy like a coconut, right, or fresh coconut, or like a pineapple.
On the Malecon, it may cost you $1.75 or $2.
Right.
But if you go back a couple of streets,
Or one street.
Well, a couple of streets, it may be $1, it may be 75 cents.
Or you
So-
may get 2 pineapples for $1. You know, it's just they know where the money is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's,
I don't mind.
I would do the same thing. If I know the money is on the Malecon, I'm going to the Malecon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have that same situation here because we do live in the hustle and bustle of everything. Like this is tourist central where we live, and we have this conversation with our family and friends here all the time because yes, we may pay a little bit more than they do living. They live a little bit more inner city, but he always gripes and says, "Well, if we took an Uber over there, we would still be paying the same amount of money as if we had gotten it here. So it doesn't make sense for us to be traveling, right? Isn't that your famous quote?
Hey, I mean, you go like I just literally went down to we call it the American store because they got all the imported stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So I needed some barbecue sauce. So the barbecue sauce costs $3.50.
He's a barbecue snob, y'all. He don't like condiments.
So I was actually going to go down. I went down to the meat market because they had the barbecue sauce in the bag, right? So I was going to get that, but they didn't have any. So I said, okay, let me go to this American store. Well, typically, we'll just go to, Walmart because you can get it, it might cost $1.50 at Walmart, but it's going to cost me, $7, $8 around trip in an Uber to get over there. So that don't make sense for me to go way over there to get that. So I just go ahead and pay the $3.
I'm telling you, we related.
Y'all gotta be related. It's
Because
in
he
the
would
gene.
say, the amount of gas you're spending when we was in the States, the amount of gas you're spending to go over there, you could have just got it here.
Right.
No.
Absolutely.
Right. She would say, we would be at some place like Sam's or whatever. And she's like, I'm not buying milk here. I'm going to Kroger. I said, well, how much are you saving by buying a gallon of milk across town? It doesn't make sense to me. Just pay more here.
Some change.
My change.
Exactly. Some change. I want to see it too. I want to see that change.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Do you have any ideas on maybe getting a mode of transportation at all?
So,
Or is that a secret?
No, it's not a secret. We actually, there's some friends of ours live right.
Our neighbors,
neighbors. The husband's retired Marines, and they drove here from Vegas, so they have their vehicle, and they always talk about, man, it just opens up. I hear it a lot too. It just opens up a lot more that you can see by being able to drive places. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want that headache and risk and stress of driving. Not necessarily driving, but if something happened, get in an accident, get pulled over, don't speak, Spanish fluently. So, I don't even feel like dealing with all that, right? So we've been hanging out with them last week or so. And let me tell you, just to be able to hop in the car and go somewhere is nice. I mean, it is definitely nice, and I definitely can see an advantage of it. But I can't see getting one right now. I mean,
not for where we are. After the 2 years, let's evaluate. Once our 16-year-old graduate, we can actually have more roots put down to know if this is really where we're going to stay or, move somewhere else. And not to have a vehicle that we probably may have to either sell or something like that later. I'm enjoying the money coming into the savings account. That's what I'm enjoying right now.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah.
And I think you have the advantage of being in Mexico. You can bring a car from the States. We can't. Yeah, we can't here. We can't bring, unless you're a citizen, you can't bring a car here.
Yeah.
No.
And we talked about if we wanted to get a car, and I have that same hesitancy. Yes. I feel hesitant about getting a car because, like you said, we are not fluent in Spanish. Anything happens, we can't get ourselves out of a situation.
Right.
Until I feel I'm fluent in Spanish and I understand the laws. I understand, where we're going, the roads and things. I feel like we're going to wait. We have a scooter that get us to, little small places. To and fro.
Yeah.
That's it. Because, I don't know about Mexico. Driving here, there are no...
It's a hazard.
What you said it was? Suggestion?
Traffic laws or suggestions.
Yes.
That is exactly here. And as a matter of fact, I might say that nobody has seen these said laws driving here.
We were going to die a couple times in an Uber going through stop signs.
Oh, my God.
I'm trying to look around the corner before we get to the stop sign because he ain't stopping. And the cross traffic has the right of way. And I'm like, he ain't even slowing down. I mean, I'm like, we about to die today. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah.
That is true. We do put our lives in other people's hands when we're in
taxis.
We
we
have
don't
faith.
Uber
That's
here.
all we have. Oh, you guys don't have Uber?
Not in Salinas.
Not in Salinas.
No.
In Guayaquil, they have Uber.
Yeah, Guayaquil, Quito, and Cuenca, but not here.
Yeah. And it's not that big here.
No ride sharing service at all?
No.
There's
like one guy on Uber.
The
like,
taxis, the taxi.
The taxis and the buses do pretty good.
We can actually walk everywhere.
Yeah.
Not on a hot day though. Not on a hot day.
It's not heat. So the heat here isn't the same as it probably is where you are, because it's even though there is a lot of moisture in the air because we're right here on a peninsula, it's not muggy.
No.
So it's like the dew point is different. So there's a lot of moisture in the air, but it's not muggy at all. It's just kind of a desert climate and a high UV.
Yeah, you can feel the UV. Like when you walk out, it's like you don't even have to be in the sun, and you can just feel the heat.
Feel it.
Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But we try not to do a whole lot of walking when it's
blazing.
Over 80 degrees and sunny. Now, right now it's our winter, and it's 70 degrees every day. But during the summer when it's like 80, 82, 83, and the sun is out, it feels like 100 degrees. It's brutal.
Yeah. And disclaimer on the car, our neighbors with the car, because he told me the only reason why he's driving around because his wife does speak Spanish.
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, she's from. Well, she says she doesn't speak Mexico Spanish, so but he still feels safe enough.
They've gotten out of a couple of tickets.
Yeah.
Because she speaks Spanish. So,
she speak enough.
Yeah.
She speak
enough.
Yeah.
And here they do say carry around the Coke. Crazy enough.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
In your car.
In your car, the Mexican Coke's in a bottle because the police will take that as payment.
If they have to, if they have to stop, okay.
So,
I haven't heard that one. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So.
Obviously it works.
Yeah.
But
Could have put a couple bottles in the scooter and see how that works.
Whatever.
Help yourself.
So, any plans for you guys to come visit Puerto Vallarta or Mexico on this side of the...
So, it's funny that you asked.
Oh, you know something I don't know.
No, because let me tell you, I had the idea.
Yes. Okay. Let me
so when I reached out to y'all, is because I was like, why aren't we taking a trip to Mexico? We haven't been to Mexico since 2017, and where do we go? I'm like, hold on. Let me reach out to y'all. Let's talk about Mexico, because that was one of the places that I did want to visit. And being that we're right now, we're renewing our temporary residency. So until December, it renews in December.
Yes.
Okay. So if we go anywhere before December, it's free and clear. We can go as long as we want and come back. After that, we got to count our days. We got like 90 days to work with. But
so what are you saying?
What I'm saying is, I did want to visit Puerto Vallarta, Mexico
this year,
if possible. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I don't tell her everything, because then she started. She's such a planner. She's gonna be like, oh, what are you? No. I kind of wait sometimes to tell her something.
Surprise!
Surprise. Okay.
So, but yeah, I did want to visit Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and anywhere else really, to try to just, see something different, experience something different.
Because we don't know if Ecuador is going to be the place, but it is for right now.
It is now, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we gotta open our options up.
Yeah, I want options, always options, because you never know when you have to exit. So what's the next place?
Right.
We can exit to.
Yeah.
Well, I was surprised about us moving to Mexico, because I've never been outside of the United States ever. And so this was my first time being outside, and we ended up moving to Mexico. But I agree, now that I have seen what others have seen outside the United States, and for those of you guys who are listening on this channel, listen, it is more in store than what you see in the U.S. And whatever preconceived notions you have about what goes on outside of the United States, you need to see it for yourself.
Yeah.
Because I am so blown away by what I have seen thus far, that I'm like, okay, where we're going next? We need to go visit here, because I need to go and see it for myself. Because you're right. I mean, we love Mexico, we love Puerto Vallarta, but this may not be our final destination.
And even if you made Mexico your home base, you still can bounce around. Yeah.
That's kind of what we were thinking.
Your videos of Europe, oh my gosh! I was like, if they do another short about this desserts, and oh my god, I'm hopping the plane. It was just awesome.
Yeah, it could have only been better if we both didn't get sick.
I'm not focused on the sick
No,
part.
I'm just saying, it was such a great trip. I'm like, the only way it could have been better is if we both weren't sick separately. Yeah.
And that's the only thing about flying. You're gonna come in contact, and you're in this small space, and then you got people getting on the plane, knowing he's sick. It was
the Michael Jackson death walk person on y'all's plane. Oh my god! I know.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was an experience for real.
Yeah.
The walking dead on your plane. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's cool.
So
we built a big. I'm sorry. I'm about to say we
go ahead.
There's a pretty good community here. We got her brother, my brother-in-law, and sister-in-law. They moved down here since.
Awesome.
They've been out here for about a month, 2 months. It's 2 months now.
Yeah.
If you tell her anything less, she gonna be. It's been 2 months.
Okay.
So.
2 months.
And then Jimmy and Rose Marie from Food, Faith, and Fun.
Yeah.
Food, Faith, and Fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're out here. So we built this nice little community, and we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely.
That's cool. Yeah, where we are is kind of like there is a community here, but it's almost like it's a little more disconnected, a little spread out.
Yeah, we're spread out.
So yeah, kind of. Some people are to themselves, like we are, and then some aren't. So it's it may get bigger eventually. Hopefully, it's a really nice area.
There's a bunch of different pockets of groups here. You kind of get sometimes they have like these big massive events where all these expats, and then you kind of go there and network and kind of
find your tribe,
so to speak, and then you kind of then you have your own little things because you got the crowd that likes to go out and spend money every time they go out to restaurants every weekend and stuff, like, no, I didn't move here for
To
that.
spend all my money.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely. I can cook
Absolutely.
at home and cook
Yeah,
just
cook,
as well.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
So
I agree.
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
it's different for us because we were never people that were, I will say, outgoing a lot because we have 10 kids total, and
10?
though
Wait a
they're
minute,
all
hold up.
grown.
Yeah, 10.
They're,
Diaz.
What?
Yeah.
Y'all don't
Yeah.
even look like. I thought you just said, "Wait, y'all are great. Y'all look good for 10 kids."
10 kids, so we couldn't really, go like, probably people in our age group because we were raising children. But now that our children are pretty much grown, except for our final two, we are able to socialize a little bit more. But it's easier being out here to do it because it's a new experience for us, and the people that we are meeting are also having a similar experience, right? They're here from other places as well, and we're just trying to find our space in our home. So we're even enjoying the process of being able to go out and we don't go out often, but to go out and enjoy some of these things that Puerto Vallarta has to offer. So yeah,
Y'all sound like us. I swear. Because
homebody.
we cook.
Yes.
We cook most days. When the sun is down right now, we be in the living room watching TV.
What's your series that you watch?
Which one?
What's your series? The Walking Dead and
That's over. I got a bunch of stuff I watch, but
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I watch. We're Marvel. We watch Marvel movies.
Yes.
We watch several movies on Netflix and some shows on Netflix.
Yeah, well, not just Netflix, but we watch all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
We got all kinds.
Yeah. We sit at home. I mean, like you said, we were not home. I mean,
Outgoing,
people moves in the States.
Anyway,
so we do the same thing we did there here.
Exactly. And that's why
makes it
I try to tell people. I said, when you move abroad, people think that all of a sudden I'm going to just be this, I'm going hiking and waterfall, cliff diving. I'm like, you ain't doing none of that stuff anymore. What makes you think,
get over here and then be this.
Now, I'm not saying you can't do those things, but it would have to be very intentional because you tend to do the same habits that you had, where you came from.
Absolutely.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Our habits fit the lifestyle here for us. Yeah. We don't need a lot of nightlife. We don't need to socialize a lot.
Look, I get sleepy at 8:30.
Listen, she had a friend.
Oh, are you gonna tell it?
Was that today?
That is today. Oh my God! I hope she's not listening. No.
She had a friend. I didn't say no name. She had a friend invite her to a birthday party. That started at 9:30. I was
tonight.
Like, 9:30 tonight? Man, please. I'll be up under the bed.
I was like, unless we having a party in my dreams, it ain't happening. Because that's where the party's going to be happening. The Z's, everything. You can have your drinks and everything in my dreams.
Exactly.
Yeah. At 9:30.
Exactly. Yeah. But there are, when we talk about communities, here in Salinas, it is kind of spaced out, but we still come together if we need to. There is a larger community in Manta, and there's a community in Cuenca. I'm not familiar with one in Guayaquil, but I'm sure it is.
Yeah, and Quito probably,
And Quito. But, we're all spaced out because we don't, when we say Manta is like, what, 4 hours away?
4-hour drive.
4-hour drive.
Ooh.
I didn't realize it was
Yes.
that far.
Yeah.
It's not that far. That's what's crazy.
The drive is.
Yeah. It's only like, oh man, it's 100 and something kilometers.
I see mountains and all kind of stuff in the way.
But yeah, the way the roads are and how you got to get there, it's 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not a place that we're just gonna hop in. Yeah, let's go to Monster. No.
And Cuenca is what, 8 hours?
Cuenca's like it's
8 hours from here.
Oh.
Wow.
So you have to
like 6 or 7.
Well, either way, catch a flight and catch a flight to Guayaquil, and then you drive the.
Or you can take the bus. You can take a ride.
Yeah. Well, I'm not
There's different ways to do it, but that bus ride in the mountains is crazy.
I already had that.
Yeah.
That was enough for me.
Yeah.
Oh.
These, the cliff.
Winding road.
That cliff.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me. I thought it was cool, but yeah, she was like,
We took a bus to Guadalajara, here in Mexico, which is the second largest city in Mexico. And yeah, we were on the double decker bus. Very nice scenic route, but yes, with the cliffs. Yes,
I enjoyed it.
I did too.
But that was right on the edge of my bus rides like that.
The edge of your fun
5
list.
hours, okay. 5 hours, I'm done.
Yeah, that's the limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Going up those mountains, and then we got into the clouds. You couldn't see anything. No, I'm a control freak.
I need passing people on the mountain. That's crazy.
I'm a control freak. I need to know. I need to know where I'm at. I need to know what you're doing. Are you sleeping?
You gonna be down there? See down there, the bus driver. I'm watching you, bus driver.
I'm watching you.
Better not go sleep.
You better not blink an eye. You better
absolutely keep us on track. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So, do y'all have any plans? Whether it be travel, anything with your channel, anything going on?
Well, that's good that you asked. So our channel, we are trying to focus more on pre-retirement because we're not retired yet. And so we know that there are people probably in our same situation where he's going to be 50 this year. I'm already 50. So 53. And didn't really get a chance to plan, or not chance, didn't plan for retirement like we should have, whether it be because of commitments with our kids or just mistakes that we made with our money. But to be able to show other people that they do still have time to plan for retirement, to save, maybe move abroad for a lower cost of living, or somewhere in the state with a lower cost of living. And so that's kind of where our channel is going to be focused more on. Eventually, we're going to get to that part of our channel because we know that, unfortunately, I hate to say it, you got to plan. You have to take control of your retirement because you never ever know. You never know.
Exactly.
So you need to make sure you do that. So we're trying to help people and share our experience on how we're saving for retirement and planning.
And what I find is our younger people or people who want to move abroad, they're having a hard time working remotely. Yes. Even though it was already proven during COVID that everyone can work from home because we had no choice. People are finding it hard to work remotely because a lot of jobs are saying they need people in the office.
Or they don't want to pay you to live somewhere else and work remotely.
Especially if your cost of living is less and they feel like you can get ahead.
That part,
which is dumb.
That part.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I think there's a lot of, some political into that because I had a friend of mine tell me that in their area, their restaurants were, empty now because everybody's working from home. So the restaurants got together and they did something, and now that, basically restaurants are saying the jobs, people need to come back in the buildings so the restaurants can stay afloat. So you got that, and you have companies that, hey, they got these buildings
that they pay money.
They pay for. They want you to come in there.
Yeah, they not jewelry.
But it is sad that especially the jobs that told people that you can't work from home. You can't. I think when you was working at GC, like you can't work from home. There's no way, and you could do your job from home, right?
Absolutely.
So then when COVID happened, everybody's at home for 2 years, and like you said, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got to come back in. I mean,
but I've been doing this job for 2 years. Yeah.
For what?
Well, being creative too is another thing because I actually am a real estate agent in Arizona. So, but I'm still able to do that from here. Right. I've had probably my best month ever was when we first moved here.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ever in real estate industry, and I was busy as I don't know what. But that proved to me that I could do this from abroad. And maybe people are not thinking about that. It's going to take some ingenuity on people's parts to be able to do this, but the opportunities are there. Building businesses, your own business. There are these smaller companies out here who are willing to, startups is what I'm saying, who are willing to take a chance on somebody that may be wanting to live abroad. So there's options out there. We just have to be creative with what those happen to be. I'm also getting licensed here in Puerto Vallarta, I believe. There's no licensure, but getting affiliated here. So I can do real estate here. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out what path you need to take from a financial perspective. And we want people to know it does not take $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year to live outside of the United States.
Yeah.
Significantly less.
Thing. Yeah. Significantly less, but that's not what people are being taught. They assume that you need to be making what you're making in the States in order to live a life outside of it, and that's not true. So you just got to do your research on what those costs are.
Yeah.
And I think that was in your previous video he had with I guess they were talking about the perception that people got from watching television that you need to be wealthy to buy property or to move outside the U.S. And we're finding out, like you said, that's not true. You can live off, for some of those people who are making 40,000 or, in between 30 to 60,000, you can do that.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Easily.
But it is our perception too, because when people are, you see on social media, people are in the pool and they got their, their drinks and they're going into these caves and, all this beautiful aesthetics, and they're thinking that there's costs attached. What we do is we do put that perception out there, but we don't also share that this was a free thing. It was free today for us to go. Do this, or a 2-for-1 cocktail night. It happened to be the night we were there.
Also, the cocktails are costing $1.50.
$10. So things like that, and I think we share, but we don't share enough, so that they can see that it is doable to live. We even tell our own kids this, like, get out of the United States and take that money and make it work for you. Not that they want to listen. but yeah, try and tell them.
Also, when you mentioned the movies, I think on our last video we're telling you have to have a source of income. That's the big thing, because the other thing they show in the movies is they show some girl move to Italy for love and then she goes work in a coffee shop and all that stuff. You can't get no job in these countries like that. They're not hiring no foreigners
to go work in a coffee shop.
No, that's not how it works.
No.
So that's the other thing too. People quit their jobs, move abroad, and think they're going to come. I've seen people come here, quit their jobs, come over here, and then start looking for jobs. I'm like, you can't
work here.
Yeah,
no.
You cannot work here. No. And that's somebody who didn't do their research. And we always say, do your research.
Mm-hmm. And I think there's a gap. There's a gap between the perception that we have of like some Caribbean destination, whether it be like Jamaica, Mexico, whatever. The perception that we have is what we see when we get off a cruise ship, or if you're at a resort and you're doing all the resort things and the cruise ship things that go to tourist areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And the other side is the part of the country that you'd be like, oh my God, I would never live here. Yes. Well, there's a perception gap, because there are parts of that country that you would be willing to live in, but they aren't necessarily the places that you saw on the cruise ship.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And those are the places that people don't really know about, that, once they start to discover, you realize like, oh, I could afford to live here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And enjoy it.
Right.
And you have to change your perception. Not everything is, we have this U.S. standard, and we try and carry it into other areas. And no, everything is not going to look like the United States.
Exactly.
There are different standards there than it is here. They do things differently, and we got to get out of that mindset that we are no longer in Kansas. Okay, it's just
exactly.
We're outside of that, and you have to expand your mind and say, okay, you know what? I might not be getting, 4 or 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, huge yard in the back. I mean, no, you might settle for a 2-bedroom with no backyard space, and you're living in a condo. But it's nice, it's decent, it's livable, and so setting the expectations of the standard
or the aesthetics. I remember, because we're in a tourist town. So when the cruise ships come in, and then you get people come,
Walk to
Malecon, and they stop and talk to especially the black folks. So hey, talking, you guys live here, whatever. Oh man, I would never. It's a third world country. Look at it. And
I'm like, third world.
I'm like, first of all, I got fiber internet to the house, but okay. But the perception, and one thing that we talk about all the time here is we look forward to is the outside. We notice the outside of these buildings. I don't know if it's like that in Ecuador. They'll look like a hole in the wall, but then once you get inside, it's like you get completely blown away. Yeah. And we really look forward to that. Like when we walk around, look at some building and go to some restaurant, and we think a lot of it is because they don't want the attention, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want the attention of people breaking into your stuff and things like that. So it just blows my mind that some of these buildings that we go in, some of these houses that we go in, and that's what we were talking about. You could have the 4-bedroom in the yard stuff, but from the outside it may look like that's not
like it's
any place I want to live. But go through that door and you'd be blown away.
Absolutely. Which is the way we're supposed to live life anyway. We're not supposed to be looking at the exterior anyway, right? It's about what the person is on the inside. And I think Puerto Vallarta or Mexico is a great analogy for that, because it's not the outside, it's the inside that matters. And that's what you see a lot here. Yeah.
I want to thank y'all for doing this so much. Could you please, before we finish, plug yourselves again? And anything that you got plans coming up, go ahead and give it a plug.
All right, so this again is Bobbi.
I'm Cedric.
And we are Aging Grateful. And we are grateful for the journey that we're on, and we're sharing that with others, letting you know that during this time frame, aging gets a bad rap, right? Aging gets a bad rap, but it's a part of the journey. It's nothing to be afraid of. We are still living life. It doesn't stop at 40. For those people who might think it does not stop. As a matter of fact, it's actually more enjoyable because we are at a different stage in life, like less caring about what people think. But you can find us. Absolutely. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Aging Grateful, and Threads now and TikTok at Aging Grateful. And we will have some upcoming videos regarding from the financial perspective of how we are actually planning for our retirement. So we are really going to be honing in on that. And guys, Living Loving Abroad, you make sure if you have not subscribed to their channel and you are listening right now or looking right now, just hit the button and the notification button as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for everyone watching, thanks again. Thank Aging Grateful for being here. And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.